All right, well, there's a lot in the news today. We're going to come back to the Trump indictment. We're going to come back in a moment to the miraculous story of those 4 surfers found. Let's bring in now our Darwin Bureau Chief, Matt Cunningham. Matt, first on this situation with Daniel Andrews, how can he possibly say that these situations are completely different? They're both branch stacking allegations. Surely he should refer this minister, who's his close factional ally, to the Corruption Commission as well.
Well, he should. It was fairly extraordinary to watch that press conference today with Daniel Andrews. Anthony Albanese certainly had his thunder stolen. I'm not sure if there were any points he wanted to make today, but he didn't really get much opportunity to make them. Rachel Baxendale was rightly questioning the Victorian Premier about this extraordinary situation where you have the signatures of dead people forged, where you have the numbers in this branch spectacularly fall, and then, you know, it's sort of a nothing to see here. He's saying, well, tell me the allegation that you're making, and he consistently says that. Tell me the allegation you're making about Lily D'Ambrosio. Well, I think the allegation that is being made is pretty clear. Now, whether it's specifically against her, I think is the question at stake here, but there's certainly issues going on within her branch of the Labor Party, and we saw just 3 years ago the extraordinary fallout when there were similar issues within other branches of the Labor Party that involved different factions, not, as you say, in this case, Daniel Andrews' own faction, but we saw it end the career of Adam Somyurek. We saw it effectively end the career of Luke Donallan. We saw the federal member, Anthony Byrne, caught up in all of this as well. Their careers are now effectively over. In this case, the Victorian Premier is saying, well, there's nothing to see here. I don't think that adds up. I don't think it passes the pub test for most people. And it was also interesting, as you noted in your intro, to see the Prime Minister actually wind up the press conference. You don't normally see that with Daniel Andrews' press conferences. He normally goes toe-to-toe with the journalists for as long as they want to go. Exactly. But it was, in this case, the Prime Minister who was calling an end to it all.
No, absolutely. And now, Matt, let's look at this absolutely amazing, miraculous story today. All 4 Australians who were lost at sea in Indonesia were found alive. Elliot Foote, Steph Weiss, Will Teagle and Jordan Short. They were on a wooden longboat on a surfing trip when they ran into bad weather on Sunday. They were there to be celebrating a 30th birthday. A complete miracle when they were found alive and well this morning. Here is the incredible footage of the moment that 3 of the 4 surfers were first spotted.
Yeah! Wait. Yes! Yes! Woo! Elliot!
Where's Elliot? That's Artie, right?
Yeah, have you got Elliot?
It's just amazing. I mean, we all thought they were presumed dead. The father of Elliot Foote was actually speaking to the press when he got that amazing call, when he learnt that his son was alive. Have a look.
Hey Dad, Elliot here. I'm alive, safe now, love you, chat later. That's it. Yeah, it's from Elliot. Yeah.
Do you believe it? It seems surreal.
He was probably going out for a surf this afternoon, you know, who knows.
Well, let's hope they're not going for a surf straight away. Matt, what do we know about their time lost at sea and that amazing rescue? Because we can see that they were just still, you know, floating and clinging onto their surfboards there.
Well, one thing's for sure, I know that it would have been a pretty traumatic 30 hours lost at sea. I was watching, you know, some of the interviews, or an interview with Elliot Foote's father, Peter, this morning, and I've got to say, you know, my heart was sinking just watching him speak. He was asking for there to be a greater effort made with the rescue. He was asking for aerial searches to be conducted. You know, you got the sense that even part of him, while, you know, like any father, he was holding out hope. You got the sense that he was expecting that, you know, the worst case scenario might eventuate, and you can only imagine what that would be like for any parent. So, you know, to get that news, you know, around about lunchtime today, that those 4 had been found and were safe and well, was just remarkable. I think it was a good news story that, you know, this country desperately needs at the moment.
Now, look, let's turn to Donald Trump now. I mean, when it was his first indictment, we took over the whole program with it, but this is now his fourth indictment. Today in Georgia, a grand jury indicted the former president over accusations of scheming to illegally overturn the 2020 election loss. It's the second indictment relating to his efforts to overturn Joe Biden's victory, the fourth overall faced by the former president. And Rudy Giuliani, who was Trump's lawyer, he was also named in this indictment. And he says the relentless pursuit of his client is dishonest. Have a look.
What they've done here is reprehensible. And I feel it's reprehensible with regard to me, my family, my career, and what I've done in my life. But more than anything else, I feel it's reprehensible because I can't say to the world that America is an honest country. They run it the way East Germany was run. They run it the way Soviet Union was run. They run it the way Hitler ran Germany.
Look, Matt, the situation is we know Trump is ahead among Republican voters, so he'd be most likely to win the Republican primary. He'd then be the Republican presidential candidate. But we know that all of these criminal cases, civil cases, indictments mean that he'd be less likely to end up in the White House. We'd be most likely looking at another Biden presidency. So surely at this point, wouldn't it be in the best interests for Donald Trump to just back out of the race and let another Republican have a crack?
Well, it might be, but knowing all that we know about Donald Trump, I think you can pretty much guarantee that is not going to happen. I mean, he is going to fight every one of these all of the way, and I suspect he's going to pull every rabbit out of the hat to try to get into the White House again next year. It's interesting that Fani Willis, the Attorney General, has said that she wants to bring this on quickly. She wants to bring it to a trial within 6 months. I tell you what, if we're having this trial involving Donald Trump and 18 others over these sort of conspiracy charges, only a few months out, what would it be? 8 months out from a presidential election, it's going to be an absolute circus. In fact, it's a circus already. There's some interesting things about this indictment today, though. I mean, the fact that he's been charged under this RICO Act, I think, is interesting. This Racketeer Influences, and Corrupt Organisation Act that's usually used for mobsters is interesting. It's interesting that the details of the charges were leaked before they were actually confirmed. I think that plays right into the Trump conspiracy camp. And so, we're going to hear plenty more about this between now and the election. But, as to your earlier point, I don't think we'll see Donald Trump stepping down or walking away from his presidential aspirations anytime soon.
Yeah. And look, and to your point on the unprecedented nature of the types of charges, there's no question that all of this also has a political element to it as well. Mike Cunningham, thank you very much for joining me.